Hey, everybody. This is going to be a great episode this week. I have a guy that I think gives me a real run in terms of like my energy level because I run at a pretty high octane, and I think I've met my match here. He's a local strength and conditioning coach, but he also works with Mercyhurst University Athletics. He has 25 teams that he works with. He's traveled all over the country, in his youth growing up, but educationally, he's kind of done some stuff here and there, but decided to set his roots up here because this is like where him and his family would always come in the summer. But Tyler Travis, he's a great guy. If you haven't heard of him, I bet you've seen his face, and you're probably going to hear his name in the months and years to come because he's an amazing individual that's promoting health, wellness, fitness for our youth, our college athletes, and our weekend warriors, such as myself. He puts together training programs. We're going to get a lot better insight into like what makes him tick, and you're definitely not going to want to miss this episode. It's a great one.
All nurses to the nurses station.
Lawless country people are real close family. Lately, some of my kinfolk don't get around too good, you see. When that doctor asked them, son, how'd you get in this condition? They says, hey, soft bones, I'm just carrying on an old family tradition. Wanna know, Doc, why do you think I got some pain in my joints from years of playing hard in this life that's too short? When that doctor asked me, son, how'd you get in this condition? I says, hey, soft bones, I'm just carrying on an old family tradition. Tell me all about it, Doc.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Hey Sawbones, My Story, My Passion. I'm your host, Dr. Ryan Molley, orthopedic surgeon, cutter of bones, businessman, entrepreneur, but most importantly, loving husband and father of 3 young, active, and very busy boys. And today's episode is going to be a really fun episode. I have another, what I like to call local legend coming into this area. And he has made some significant waves, particularly in the fitness community over the past several decades here in Erie, Pennsylvania. And I vaguely remember him from probably 20 some years ago when I used to go up and work out at what used to be Family First, recognized his face, and then lo and behold, 15 to 20 years later, our paths crossed again and we were introduced, and he's become a good friend of mine and just an amazing asset to this entire community of Northwest Pennsylvania. And without further ado, Tyler Travis.
Hey.
What's up, buddy?
You.
How are you?
Nice, I'm doing well. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to come do the podcast. And, as we always start this out, my guests and me, we really like to get to know like who our guests are and kind of like I said before we started recording, that 30,000 foot view, like who is Tyler Travis? Where'd you grow up? Family, siblings, and kind of walk us through basically what got you to this point. And then we'll get into some of the detailed stuff as we get into the questions.
Sure. I kind of grew up all over the country, almost nomad-like. Grew up in a family of educators. My mom and dad, both teachers, lived as far west as Utah, east as Maine. Our home base was always Edinburgh, Pennsylvania. My mom was a city girl from Pittsburgh. My dad was kind of from Erie, Edinburgh. They met in Edinburgh, a little summer cottage out there, and that was kind of our home base. So every summer we'd come back, every Christmas, and the goal of my parents were always to get back here. So every 5 years we were moving. My dad was working his way up the ladder, and I was fortunate enough to, one sabbatical year, come back and go to third grade in General McLean, Edinburgh Elementary, and then would move away. And then came back my last 2 years of high school, junior, senior year, Loved the area, loved the community because it was always a vacation spot for us. Wanted to reside here. Was able to go to undergraduate school locally at Penn State Barron for undergrad, then moved away to graduate school in Minnesota, and chose to come back home and set roots. So married my wife. She's from Cambridge Springs. My kids are going to school here, playing travel hockey here, and made Erie my community. So now I currently am director of strength conditioning at Mercyhurst University. So I oversee all 25 sports. Started with primarily hockey, as everybody knows. And then my entrepreneurial side, I have Erie Sports Now Fitness and Performance Center, and I'm a business partner with Lecom Sports Park.
So that's quite a bit. I mean, you're a busy guy. You're highly, highly energetic. Just in my conversations when I run into you at the baseball games and stuff like that, you're always a pleasure to talk to. And you're kind of like me. Like I feel like you're better when you have a lot going on, as opposed to maybe just a couple things. And you, I won't say you spread yourself thin, because you do really, really good at everything that you do. And I've never heard a negative word in the community about you. And I know that you said you're setting roots, and you've made this your home, but Erie and Northwest Pennsylvania is very lucky to have you.
No, thank you.
And all the things that you do. So, the first thing that we do before we kind of get into the question and answer, you brought some stuff over here, some drinks.
I did.
So,
I had to bring some props.
Yeah. By the way, that's your glass.
All right.
So your pint glass.
Well, first we've got hops water.
Okay.
It's a little nootropic. So being on your podcast here, strength conditioning coach, I've got to be a role model. So this is a little nootropic. What would you like? You like a lime or a blood orange?
I'm gonna do the blood orange.
So it's
I haven't had
alcohol,
this one,
but it's a nice hydrator. Obviously, nootropics are being are popular these days.
What does that
performance
mean?
Enhancing. Well, there's nootropics are mind boosting ingredients. So like L-theanine, which is an amino acid, which is supposed to help you focus.
Okay.
Most pre-workouts, which my pre-workout would be a Tim Hortons coffee and maybe an electrolyte like BioSteel, but a lot of pre-workouts have L-theanine, which helps you focus.
Okay.
So this is just L-theanine and hops water, 0 calories. I like drinking this at nighttime instead of a beer, just if I'm going to read, just to focus. It tastes good. It's a nice little fix. So you want to crack one open?
Cheers. Absolutely.
And then I brought also some of our protein drinks that our college guys and ladies drink. It's our Endurafin, great group of guys. Pretty neat little story behind their product. A couple guys out of Syracuse, entrepreneurs like ourselves. They started this whey protein. They have also a recovery drink, and it's just powder in the bottom of these. So I love these because I can travel. Our hockey team, puts them on the bus, and we put them in their locker rooms after games, and all they do is fill them up with the water fountain.
So this is not, like you said, for traveling. If you're flying somewhere, you can put this in your carry-on.
Oh, absolutely.
And you don't have to worry about getting through security or anything like that with that.
So these are our go-to with our Mercyhurst men's and women's hockey program. My family loves them too. Even my 11-year-old, we have a recovery version, which has a carbohydrate and protein.
Where do you get these at?
Right on their website. They don't sell these yet in stores.
Nice.
But they're instability compliant. There's no fake sweeteners in it.
So Jay, who does all of our editing, he does a great job. So he'll do a little research on this. He'll put some, info up here, how people can order it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
these
I always loving trying new stuff. But again, thanks again for coming on.
Absolutely. Cheers.
Looking forward to this. It's gonna be fun. So, as we talked about, I was joking. I said, I try to keep it as genuine, as authentic as possible. I don't want to know any questions ahead of time because I almost feel like it's rehearsed then. And you were very prepared. You sent your email back, and then I kept reading. I'm like, oh, there's a question. And I was like, stop reading. So fire away. 3 business, then 3 personal, and then the fun stuff will be me asking you the questions, because a lot of the questions that my guests ask me, they may get repeated and stuff like that. But fire away.
Well, let's start. I think I'm not going to hit you with the craft questions yet.
Sure.
Right? I think the craft for most of us is the easy part. I think the hard part for entrepreneurs is getting the business up and running. What was the first step that you took, especially as a physician, to leave, like, for example, a health system, which is where most physicians are, right? And start your own practice. I mean, really blaze new trails.
Yeah. And I appreciate that question, because I've been asked some business questions, but never quite like that. And I think it oftentimes comes from a fellow entrepreneur. And I think the first thing is just like getting on the edge of that cliff and putting your wings out and just saying, I'm going for this. And for those of you that know me, there's one thing I don't lack, and I think it's the same as you, is like self-confidence. And I'm not saying that in a cocky way, but it's just like, you know what you do, you know what you're committed to doing. And to me, failure is not an option, right? I know I'm going to meet, and I don't mean that things that I do or decide to do aren't going to fail periodically, but I look at this as like a war, right? And not in a negative sense, but like there's battles in a war, and then there's the overall war. I'm not going to lose the war, right? There's going to be some battles, decisions I make that I think may be good at the time, and then you do it and you realize it doesn't work, but you're never going to catch me being caught by what I call paralysis by analysis. So I knew very early on that I was not a good employee. And the fact that it's not that I'm like disobedient, but I'm just very, very independent in terms of my thinking, and I have vision, and I want to be able, and I'm very creative, and I want to be able to do things in the manner that I feel are best for my patients, first and foremost, for my staff, and for me personally, because I've seen that other side. I've seen the hospital employment side. I did that for 2 years when I was in Michigan, very early on in my career, and it was, quite honestly, the worst 2 years of my life, because I was being told what to do and how to do it by people that had never gone to medical school, had never stepped in an OR, didn't know the daily stresses of what it was like to be a surgeon, but also they didn't really understand what the patients were looking for. And for me, it's always been about the experience, right? This is a very scary thing that these people are about to undergo. And they're putting a tremendous amount of trust and faith in me and my team to take really good care of them. And it's scary, right? So how can I do this in such a way that is taking that intimidation level down, that anxiety level down? And to me, the only solution for that was for me to create my own practice, kind of from scratch. And in 2017, I decided that's what I was going to do. And it took me about 8 or 9 months to kind of get everything ready to kind of pull that trigger or flip that switch. And we did that January 1st of 2018. So we're coming up on, this will be our 6th year when we celebrate New Year's. So I obviously I haven't done it by myself. There's been an amazing team behind me that has helped me every step of the way. Some people have come, some people have gone, but there's been some staples in terms of particularly like the providers. I have a great group of providers that work alongside me each and every day. And then just the ancillary staff, right? And building that team, that leadership team, and not trying to micromanage everything, but allowing people to use their strengths to the best of their abilities. And because I'm one person, right? And I know what I'm really good at, and I know that I'm a vision guy, but I can't accomplish all these tasks single-handedly. So it's enabling those people that are alongside me to do what they do best and help move the boat in the correct direction, which is the same direction that we're all trying to move. We're rowing in the same direction, as opposed to when I was in hospital employment, different ideas, different ideals, different goals and missions. So now we're all rowing in the same direction, and we're nimble and we're fast, and we're able to change directions if need be.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you that when we visited your office in Meadville, and for the folks at home, you invited our Steelheads baseball team over. My younger son, David, was on your son's team, had some Italian ices over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, a nice little cafe, some good roasted coffee. Was unlike any other medical office I've ever been in my life. I mean, it felt like a destination. Cleanliness aside, it was immaculate, right? But it felt like a vacation spot when you walked in. So I can imagine how patients feel. You've taken the steps to make them feel comfortable, right? Not to feel like one of those sterile, the same color, the places we don't want to go.
Yeah.
When there's an emergency.
Like
It's
institutionalized and
yeah. I mean, we want to be comforted in an emergency situation, or in a situation where, we have to be cut open, right? That's not the most comfortable, setting for most people. But that office is just beautiful. And you've designed everything, every aspect from what I remember.
Yeah. Yeah. And thank you for recognizing that and appreciating that, because that was a labor of love. It was an amazing project. Took several years to find the right location, but then to do it all, and just the smallest of details, literally like the knobs on the drawers. And again, I had help. I had some people that helped me with some color schemes. I knew what I wanted. I knew what I wanted to look like, but to tie it all in and, the right lighting, the right this. I had some just great people. Blue Lily, home staging. They really helped me. So Amanda Spiros and Nadia Carlin. Big shout out to you guys. Maybe do a little Blue Lily thing right here. They did a great job with helping with like, how do I tie the paint color in with the carpet tiles and the floor and the this and the that, while still respecting kind of like my overall vision of what I wanted this to look and feel like. Because it's not like anything I've ever been in terms of a medical facility. And that was my goal. I didn't want it to feel like you were walking into your standard doctor's office that has that smell, that has that look, that has that just kind of blah. And when you say it's like, I use the term sterile too. And when you say non-sterile, you almost feel like it's dirty, but I pride myself in it being much cleaner than anything I've been in. So,
Yeah. Huh. That's awesome.
Yeah. What else?
Well, one of the biggest challenges for when I started our business, when I started Erie Sports Now Fitness Performance, was becoming top of mind, right? People in the community knew what I did. They knew what I did on campus, but extending that onto Oliver Road, right? And getting people into, originally when I, and I'm saying we because my business partner, Brian Lilly's been a great influence and mentor for me, invested in this business. And we're inside an ice rink. We're not on a corner, right? So how do I get people to know where we are? And so one of the things we utilized was social media. And that's helped us tremendously. And I've seen you really leverage Facebook, Instagram. And I just want to know how you went about that.
Yeah. So personally, I don't have a Facebook page. I have a director of marketing, Allie Brace. Huge shout out to Allie. She helps make a lot of this happen. Again, I give her the vision. I give her kind of what I want things to look like, what I want it to feel like. The only social media platform that I'm personally on is LinkedIn. And that's, for those of you that don't know, it's a great professional networking platform. I know you're on it. We're friends there. And I can connect with a lot of orthopedic surgeons or physical therapists or strength and conditioning people, or just other entrepreneurial business people that can give you good ideas and give you good feedback and just positivity, right? Like there's very little negativity on there. And if there is, I just avoid it. I just say, thank you, but see you later. You're not.
Yeah, LinkedIn has turned into a much more positive area for just connecting socially. It used to be Twitter at one point, X. And then Instagram still is pretty popular among the fitness industry, but you've got to really filter. I think LinkedIn is the place to go for professionals and for good dialogue.
Yeah. So, but Allie's done a great job with kind of running with that. And to me, I'm a structure guy. I'm OCD. So I have when I first brought her on board, I said, all right, I want medical Mondays. I want testimonial Tuesdays. I want wellness Wednesdays. I want, thankful Thursdays, and I want fun Fridays. And then it's just grown from there. I practice for the past several years now what I call the attitude of gratitude. So each Thursday I do a thankful Thursday, shout out to my closest friends, my family members, my teammates. It's amazing what your state of mind can do for you in all other aspects of your life. Like if you want to be negative, you're not going to feel great about yourself or any other aspects of your life. But if you really truly think about what you're grateful for and who's helped get you there, it is just amazing, that power of positivity and how everything else in life just starts to seem a little easier, and people start to row a little harder in the direction that you want them to row when you do that. And you feel better about yourself too, because you're giving those shout outs to the people that have helped to get you where you're at. So, but I couldn't do it without Allie, kind of running the reins of the marketing piece.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned positive attitude. I mean, we see that not just in our business teams, right, and our coaches, but we see that in our sports teams. I've been a part of some great teams over the years and some really good mentors and coaching staff that if it wasn't for their attitudes, I couldn't be in that environment. And we've had, I think a lot of us, we're so busy. The last thing we want to do is spend time with people who aren't positive, who aren't lifting us up, right? And they always say, the saying is you're the average of the top 5 people you hang out with.
Dude, I love that saying. My good buddy Mike Burrows said that. He was on the podcast, and I'm a firm believer of that. So the 5 people that I spend most time with, other than my nucleus, are 5 people that I respect the most, and they're all positive. They're all forward thinking. They're all entrepreneurial, and they help to rise that tide for myself too.
Well, it goes to keeping your momentum.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you don't want to slow down. You want to keep pushing forward and achieving it as much long as you can. And the right people on that bus make a difference. You
sure.
read the book Energy Bus by John Gordon?
You know, I don't know if you were the one that kind of mentioned it to me
Could have been.
or somebody else, but it's funny how you haven't heard of something and then all of a sudden 2 or 3 people tell you about it within the same week. So I've heard about that recently, but definitely going to be on my, if not book, audiobook list.
Definitely worthwhile. I think the kids, especially, my wife implemented that into her 3rd grade class.
Really?
And uses it as just, again, it's letting her students know that, you have control of your bus. You got to have the right people on it. And, no energy vampires. Making sure you're surrounded with the right people.
I feel like you have my cue cards here.
Yeah.
I use that term all the time. And then the energy vampire to me, it's almost like a scale. It's like when you're supposed to be helping me and helping our business accomplish our goals. And it's almost like an old law. And then your brother's an attorney, right? Like the old scale, right? And when your scale starts to tip more into the energy vampire mode and you start to require more of my energy, but not on positive things, it's your attitude, it's your this, like I have no more room for you on my bus.
Yeah.
And I've grown to just have a zero tolerance for it anymore. You may be a great person, but if it doesn't fit with what we're trying to do and how we're trying to do it with positivity, with building people up, good luck.
Yeah. I've had the same conversations with our graduate assistants or our assistant coaches that in the world of strength conditioning, you've got to adapt. And you get audibles thrown at you all the time.
Yeah.
Right. And you got to make changes. The coach will go, "Hey, you got 25 minutes in the weight room." It's like, great. All right. Let's make sure that we scale the programming and utilize the most important qualities in that program that's going to hopefully transfer the best for that team in 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. And you can't complain about it. You move on. Oh, you got 60 guys in the weight room today. Okay, great. Wonderfully. How are you going to engage them? How are you going to make them feel like this is the 1 hour that's the most important you have during that day?
Yeah.
And I think the people that thrive the most in any business are the ones who can take that ball and run, right? And not get bogged down by, the rush, right? The busyness, which I see a lot of people do. And they get paralyzed, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And they don't do anything.
Yeah, no, it's easier for them. Well, I don't know if it's easier. I think they just get stuck.
Yeah.
Right. And they just don't know how to problem solve through that. And it's kind of sad to watch it because you can see it unfolding. You're like, just make the decisions. Because sometimes, again, I don't have all the right decisions, right? I don't make all the right decisions, but I make decisions. Yeah. And then if it doesn't work, you pivot, right? You pivot immediately and you get your team to pivot with you and say, my bad, made a mistake. This isn't going to work. We need to do this instead.
Yeah. Well, I think for us, I mean, I'm sure with you as well, we have a standard operating procedure and we have a framework and we work with that. And it allows us to default to wherever that standard operating procedure at the beginning is. So if I need to make changes, I know where I can fall back on. I did A, B, and C, and I can make that change, right? And I don't miss that. Strength conditioning is a little bit different than being like a pilot, where one plane's probably the same standard operating procedure. There's so many different methods you can use.
Sure.
But like in a weight room, I have my standard operating procedure. This is the system that has fit our environment, but it continues to evolve. It allows me to fall back on it and make changes. But it's like you said, it's not the right one. It's one of them, maybe a good one. But there's lots of good ones.
But you know what works for you and what works for your team, and again, you try stuff on, and sometimes it fits and it works great, and sometimes it works great for a period of time, and then you get different people into that equation, and maybe it doesn't work as well with the personnel that you have, and you pivot maybe just a little bit, right? And you say, okay, I know that you're used to doing this and you're really good at that, but right now I need you to do this, and I'm going to do this, which is a little out of my comfort zone, but that's what the whole package needs to be successful.
Which brings up a question for you from your craft. I mean, you obviously in your medical school experience have learned probably multiple ways of doing surgery. I mean, I'm sure over the years practicing it yourself, you've found ways like, this is way easier. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it this way. Right. And like in our world, we always say, what have you changed in the last 5 years? What have you changed or learned in the last 5 years, probably into what your skill set?
Yeah. So one of my famous, if you will call them Mollyisms or quotes is, and I always say this to my team and I say it to my boys, I say, if I'm doing what I'm doing right now in 5 years, I'm doing something wrong, right? Because I'm constantly adapting and changing. And to me, it's always for the better, or at least what I hope to be the better. And sometimes, again, you do something and you realize that isn't working out just as I thought it would. Just in the last year, I can't tell you how many changes I've made surgically, particularly with my knee replacement. So, what we do is pretty stressful and it's physically demanding. We are constantly putting our bodies in positions, lifting heavy legs, torquing my neck and this and that. That's just awkward. And it's not, I guess, physically healthy. It's not sustainable. So for me, I was like, this is my craft. This is my job. This is what I love to do. I want to be able to do this as long as I'm able to do it. But if I keep doing it this way, something's going to give, whether it's my neck, whether it's my back, whether it's, I had tennis elbow really bad for about 18 months. And finally that went away. But one of the things about 2 years ago that I stopped or started doing was I started doing all my total knee replacements in what's called a hanging leg holder, as opposed to kind of just on a bed where the patient's in a bolster that holds their leg up and literally the weight of their leg is hanging like this, so that my assistants and I don't have to lift the leg up and manipulate it for different parts of the procedure. I then raise the bed up to my eye level, so I'm not having to stoop and turn as much. It's still physically demanding. It's still not ergonomically perfect, but it's way better than it was for, I'd say, the first 12 years of my career, or 11 years maybe. And then there's other changes that I've done purely for the patient's benefits. Hip replacements, direct anterior hip replacements, we stopped going vertically with our incision. We went horizontally. It was a change. It was a change in the process. It took me a little bit to get the learning curve down, but the incisions heal way better. The chance of bad things happening in terms of wound complications or deep infections has gone down dramatically. Just 2.5, almost 3 months ago, I started doing my knee replacements like my hips, where I don't have to cut muscles or detach tendons from the patella anymore, which has really aided in patellofemoral tracking. So that's the kneecap riding in the groove, and it's preserved the blood supply to the kneecap, and it has made the recovery significantly easier and quicker on these patients, particularly with, doing straight leg raises, ascending, descending stairs, because we literally would do a parapatellar approach where we would cut up along the kneecap and detach the VMO, the most powerful muscle in the quad to help control patellar tracking. And one of the biggest issues that I have found over the past several years is patella tracking being an issue and being a persistent reason that these people continue to have pain or dissatisfaction after the knee replacement. It feels tight up here, just doesn't feel normal. And I don't know if this is going to be the end all be all solution for it, but it's definitely a step in the right direction.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, it's what you explained with just how you made changes. I mean, that obviously enhances recovery.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
If you were working with an athlete, they're back to, return to play much faster probably than someone you've cut their VMO.
Correct.
Strength conditioning, we say the same thing is if we're doing the same thing we did 5 years ago, we're not learning anything.
Yeah.
Right. And we're not moving, forward and making things better. And it's funny, probably for me in the last 5 years, I've simplified the programming a little bit more. Looking at qualities like speed or power, right? And, the old school periodization that used to always think that everything you would isolate a quality. You would train a quality for 4 weeks, then another quality for 4 weeks. And sport's not like that. Sport is concurrent. It's multiple qualities going on at the same time. And so, for example, in ice hockey, athletes would be nervous to do any off-ice sprinting because that might put too much pressure on the hamstrings. They don't want to pull a hamstring. But speed is the first quality you lose. It's the first. It's a 5-day detraining effect. If you don't sprint every 5 days, you get slower. It's not like strength or muscular endurance or aerobic capacity, which you can maintain for a month for the most part, as long as you do something active. Speed, if you don't train it specifically, if you don't have intent behind it, right? And intent would be timing your sprints. If you're not timing it, it's not called speed training. You're just guessing, right? And if you're not doing it at the beginning of your workout program, it's not speed training either. It's at the end. If it's at the end, that's called conditioning, right? That's just more aerobic capacity. So we sprint every Monday. They have games Friday, Saturday. We sprint with lasers every Monday. We do jumping every Wednesday. And that training, that quality has also turned into a nice readiness tool. And, if their times are, dramatically slower for some reason, we know that, hey, they're not ready. They haven't recovered from the weekend's games.
Yeah.
Right. So we can scale real time in the weight room, right? There's lots of cool technology out there, but this is simple, right? I get real time numbers right there. and I can work with each individual athlete and scale. I mean, there's cool other tools they have out there that teams have, and but this is probably the easiest. And I've one of my favorite quotes is the epitome of innovation, simplicity, and programming, keeping it simple has really evolved and helped me become a better coach.
So you prescribe to the KISS principle?
I do.
Yeah,
Yes.
me too. That's keep it simple, stupid for those out there. And I tell my patients that, and I say, don't take any offense to this. I'm not calling you stupid, but I'm a simple guy myself. And, when I get to that 6-week mark, they start asking me, when can I do this? When can I do this? I'm like, I'm going to tell you again, you can do anything you want to do as long as you have common sense and listen to your body.
Yeah.
Like, well, can I do this? I'm like, I just told you. You can do anything you want to do within reason and with common sense. If you start doing it and it hurts, and it's pathologic hurt as opposed to I haven't been to the gym and I'm sore type of hurt, it's like, you probably need to stop doing it because your body's telling you it's too much too soon right now. Right? It doesn't mean you're never going to get back to that, but like maybe going out and running 10 miles after your knee replacement at 6 weeks needs to be gradual.
There's comfort and there's pain. Discomfort and pain, right? You just got to listen to your body. And a lot of people just don't listen to their body, right? It's like being guys like us, it's like we remember being 22 years old.
Yeah.
But we have to train our age, right? We can't train like we're 22 or compete. So you scale accordingly and listen to your body. And that's probably the biggest thing I run into in fitness, whether it's a Division I college athlete, a national player, or just a weekend warrior, is pushing too quickly, too soon. I mean, most injuries, if it's a non-impact injury, it's usually an overusage injury. Right. So it's just too much too soon. And same with medicine. It's the epitome of it's thinking minimum effective dose.
Yeah.
Right. You just need enough. But our bodies are pretty amazing. As you know better than I do, it adapts pretty quickly.
It does.
And just look at what people feed themselves on a daily basis. If we can still walk down the street with half the food we feed ourselves and still wake up the next morning, right?
Yeah.
It's like we adapt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So personal stuff. Any personal questions?
I got to know more about the shoe fetish that you have with the Nikes or the Jordans.
Yeah.
I've never owned a pair of Jordans. I just bought my son a pair of Jordans for Christmas. He doesn't know he's getting them because he's been asking all his buddies got Jordans. And so I was excited to pick out Jordans. I was online for like 3 hours.
We're in Stadium Goods or StockX or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've always been a massive Jordan fan. There's no secret there. I mean, you saw my basement, right? It's like a shrine. And never ever had the ability to buy Jordans when I was a kid growing up. We grew up in a pretty humble household, and it doesn't mean that I wasn't taken care of. And I got a new pair of basketball shoes every season, but we weren't spending $125 to $150 for a pair of basketball shoes. I'd get something for $75, $80, and they would work great. But my buddies, a couple of my buddies had them, and I was always like, "Oh, those are so cool! Those are so cool!" And I did not own my first pair of Jordans until I was in medical school. And then just a couple of years ago, my good buddy, Travis Bazell, I was at his house and he's like, "Hey, you want to see my shoe collection?" And I'm like, "Sure." And I had quite a few shoes at that point, like maybe 2 pairs of Jordans. And I went up and I just saw, and it was an amazing organizational layout, same kind of containers that I have. And I was just looking at this. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going through and I'm like, do you wear these up? Yeah, I wear these. And that's how I am, right? Like, I'm not a guy that just collects and just like lets it sit there. Maybe there's a couple pairs that are real special that I would do that with, but I wear every pair of Jordans that I have. I clean them after I wear them so that they stay in good condition. But it's just been like my little fun hobby, my guilty pleasure, if you will. I try to do something that, coordinates with either the season. So these are, we'll talk about a little bit later here, but these are the ugly Christmas sweater, Air Jordan 1 mids. And, my boys have really gotten into it as well. And especially Luca. Anthony knows quite a bit too, but Luca, he knows every single pair. He knows the names of them. He knows the little subtle details. And I was like, yeah, these ugly sweater highs. He's like, those aren't highs, Dad. Those are mids, because the highs come just a little bit higher. So, but yeah, it's become a fun little hobby for me. And, it's, I kind of feel my mood, but also like what I'm wearing. I'm like, I'm going to coordinate that with this color, or if I have a particular guest on, or we're going to, say, a Celtics game, I'm wearing my Kelly greens for that, my lucky greens.
It's awesome.
So yeah.
Well, I felt like I walked in the MTV Cribs when I walked into the room and I saw all the Nikes. It was pretty sweet. I mean, I thought only the NBA guys collected the shoes, and they're pretty awesome.
You know PJ Tucker?
Yeah.
You know that guy, I think he's in the Clippers right now. He was on the Rockets for quite a while, and then I think he was on the 76ers. I think he was part of that James Harden trade to the Clippers. I'm not entirely certain, but he has a massive shoe collection from everything I've heard and read. It's like 200 some shoes. I think Luca was telling me today I have 56 pairs of Jordans.
Wow.
So I was like, well, I got one pair for every week and then a couple extras for backup. So
That's awesome.
yeah. What else?
Well, I walked into your garage and you got the new Hummer. I want to hear about it.
Oh boy.
I'm a car guy. I like it's just, what do you think?
Yeah. So the Hummer EV pickup truck, I ordered that, or I guess I didn't order that. What's the term? Not registered, reserved it. Reserved it 3 years ago, December of 2020. And obviously COVID screwed a lot of things up. And I was thinking I'd get it in like 6 months, like 2021. And that didn't happen. Then late 2021, well, that didn't happen. Then 2022, that didn't happen. Then it just kept getting pushed out and pushed out and pushed out. And then I got it totally by shock. 3 months ago, the dealership called me, and I was, those of you that know me, I'm super persistent. So I was calling Ron Agnew over at Rick Weaver's every freaking week. And I'm like, hey, Ron, any updates on the Hummer? And he'd be like, we aren't getting anything anytime soon, this, that. And the most recent that he told me before I got it was like, it's not going to be till 2025. And it won't be edition 1. It'll be like edition 2. So it won't have all the features. Like, it's weird. Edition 1 it's the best. It has the most horsepower, the best battery life, the most torque, the most assist, all the features. It's like the best it can be. Version 2 gets a little watered down. Version 3 gets a little bit more watered down. You would think that they maybe make adjustments or improvements on it, but that's how it goes. And I was very fortunate to get edition 1. And I've loved it. Now, I've never owned an electric vehicle before, so there's a little bit of a learning curve to that, right? You got to plan. The one nice thing is I don't go to gas stations anymore, but fortunately, my charger's in my garage. It gets me fully charged, and I have a big commute every day. I mean, I'm driving down to Edgewood Surgical Hospital, 3, sometimes 4 days a week, and that's about an hour and 10 to an hour and 15 minutes one direction. So I'm in the car 2.5 hours per day. We are going to be putting a charging station down there, but I do have the ability to get down there and get back, and I still have about 35% battery. But there was one day about 3 weeks ago that I forgot to plug it in as soon as I got home. And then I remembered like 8:30, 9 o'clock, which is usually I'm like in REM sleep at that point. I'm an early bird. And I'm like, shoot, I got to go plug the truck in. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to get down to work. So I plugged it in, and in the morning, it got me to about 60%. I'm like, I should be fine. I got home. Everything was shutting down on this thing. My cruise control stopped working. You got to remember, everything you use has, it takes power, right?
Yeah.
It's not like a gas backup. It's not a hybrid. So if you have the radio on, if you have the heated seats on or the heated steering wheel, or using cruise control or any of that kind of stuff. So I actually had to turn the heat off, and it's cold. And I would turn it on periodically, and then it'd freeze, and then I'd turn it off and turn it back on. And it stopped telling me how many miles I had until it was empty. And it started just flashing, charge immediately. And I'm just getting off at the McCain exit. And I'm like, I hope I make it home. It's different than a gas vehicle where you don't make it home. You pull off to the side of the road. There's a country fair a mile down the road. I can go get a gallon of gas and get me home, or get me to the gas station so I can fill up. There's no ability to do that. So you have to plan a little bit more. Certainly would not be a vehicle that I would take on a long family trip. Still, I'm not ready to go 100% family household electric. Still having a gas vehicle is nice for those things. But I've loved the vehicle. I mean, it's luxurious for a truck, but it's still a truck, and it's fast, and it's really comfortable, and it's the smoothest vehicle I've ever owned in terms of like the driving. And my wife, she drove it, not thinking she would like it. I mean, the radius of turning on this thing without even using the crab walk feature, I mean, it's a truck, and I can pull in and whip around. And what you did when you pulled in, that little maneuver, I can do that in my truck very easily in that little space. So it's fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So want to turn the tables here?
Sure.
Start asking you some questions here. So I know what you do for kind of like your day job, but again, you're super busy. When I first met you, you were it was Family First at that time. And was it Nautilus?
Gosh, that was Family First. That was 20. What year was that? 98, 99? It's a long
Yeah,
time
it
ago.
was.
Yeah.
I
We
think
just opened.
I
You were in
was.
medical school,
It would have been when I was there. It would have been 2001 because I was at
okay.
medical school and I was coming up there. I was playing basketball leagues and I was
still
working
an
out.
undergrad then. I probably when I met you, or just starting graduate school. I started 2001.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you've done this personal fitness stuff. You've done the Mercyhurst stuff. You were at LeCom for a period of time. It's like you've almost become full circle in Erie, where you've been and where you've moved and come back to. And now there's a LeCom partnership again with you. But who was it that got you so interested in fitness and just like health and wellness?
I for me, I always wanted somebody to believe in me, right? Because I did move so much, right? My dad loved us, right? And his love as a father was his job, right? He put a lot of work in.
What did your dad do?
He got his PhD in genetics and biology. Worked as a faculty in science, and then worked his way up a ladder in administration. The administrative job is what moved us around. I felt like he should have been a head football coach because we moved every 5 years as he worked his way up the ladder. But I loved it, when he came to my games. I loved when he was there to watch. I had an older brother too, but we were 8-9 years removed. So I had coaches, and the feeling that I got from people believing in that I could do something. I'll paraphrase. Ralph Waldo Emerson had a quote: "Is people just want someone to believe in them, so the knowing that they can achieve what they can achieve." That's paraphrased, but that's why I became a coach. And it was and I wasn't always sure I wanted to be a coach, like a strength conditioning coach of all things. I knew I loved fitness. I loved sport. It was a way to connect with other people and get me, especially in the communities. I moved all over. That's how I made friends. But strength conditioning, I found that route through a mentor of mine, Tracy Pillay. He was at University of Arkansas. I was taking some college classes down there. My father was working down there, and we'd get up early in the morning and run. He had a PhD in pedagogy, education, physical education, and he was leaving, and he got a job at Minnesota State Mankato. And he got there, and he's like, "Hey, I know you've been really trying to figure out what you want to do with your graduate school. There's a graduate assistantship available at the school. Why don't you come be my graduate assistant?" And we just connected because he liked to get up and run. I always got up early, and I would run with him and just talk.
So you're a morning person?
Yeah, I love mornings. I think I'm way more productive in the morning.
Same
than
here.
Any other time of the day.
100%.
And connected with him and invited me out there, and still stay in touch with him. But learned more about exercise science. Wasn't sure I was going to go that route. I thought sports psychology was really cool. But I was a track athlete, played all the other sports, basketball. Loved basketball. It was my favorite sport growing up. I fell into hockey because of going to Minnesota. Hockey was not popular in Western Pennsylvania when we lived here.
Right.
Wasn't for, thankfully for Mario Lemieux, it's a sport that's grown because of the Penguins. But I went and moved back from Minnesota, wanted to learn about hockey. And
Do you know Jamie Plunkett?
Yeah.
Did you see his
I saw
episode?
that. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. I growing up in Northwest Pennsylvania, but Meadville, I went to Maplewood. My backyard, my dad taught at Meadville for 31 years. I just a sport I never got into, but doesn't mean it's a sport I don't appreciate. I don't understand it well enough, but yeah, it's just funny that we have these, again, I call them local legends, but what an amazing guy. He was one of my favorite podcasts, just like sitting and listening to him, and 8 state championships.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, Meadville was the place to play.
Yeah.
For years.
And he attributes it, just like you said, Mario Lemieux, Sidney Crosby, and then who was the guy that played for the Otters for a couple years?
Oh, obviously Connor McDavid.
Yeah, Connor McDavid. He saw him when he was 15. He got an exception to play.
Yeah.
You had to be 16, and he was good enough to get that exception. He was playing against 18 and 19-year-olds.
Well, one of my mentors as well, Dr. Coppola, who one of your
I know
mentors,
Greg.
right?
Well.
So he made the introduction to me with Mercyhurst hockey, right? But prior to that, they worked also with the Otters. And I remember meeting Connor McDavid because they came to LECOM, the wellness center, and where I was director of, and we did some programming. And I remember Connor was sitting in the front row, and I'm thinking to myself, he's 15, he's really going to be a first round draft pick. And look at him now. I mean, I was like, wow.
Did you see it? Like when you were watching him play, could you be like, he's special? Or were you like, he is really special?
Oh no, he used him. He could, even at 15 years old.
Really?
Yeah, he could dominate the ice.
Wow.
Right. It's amazing. It's now being a hockey dad myself and having 2 boys, and being a development guy. Right. I stay in my lane. I talk a little hockey with my boys, but I'm still a strength conditioning coach. And we talk. My son had a game today, and I always talk to him about effort and being disciplined, the intensity of the game. But I let him talk to me about the game, even though I know the game. I mean, I used to hold him up on the ice when I play. Now he's wheeling around both boys wheeling around me, teaching me. And but it's a neat game, and to watch people develop, and to think somebody like Connor McDavid was 15 years old. At 15, I mean, that's 4 years from now for my son. I would only dream my son could be at that level, right? I think every hockey dad would.
There's only a few that probably ever are, right?
Yeah, only a few.
So you are a coach, right? Mm-hmm. And you have coached so many different levels of people. I mean, earlier this year, one of my main goals, words for the year, was wellness. And so I came up to, the park up there, and you kind of put together a nice program for me. And then I was really stunned, but like excited that my wife was like, hey, I think I want to do that too. And you kind of hooked us up with Kyle Mehook, another shout out. Guy. A Maplewood guy, and went to St. Hippolyte Church. His parents still go there. My parents do too. But, you're working with, I wouldn't even consider myself a weekend warrior anymore. At a time I was. I'm just a middle-aged guy that has a full-time busy job with 3 young busy boys. I want to, I'm not looking to go to the beach and be shredded or anything like that. I want to feel good. I said to you, think like Tom Brady, right? Like, he's not going to take his shirt off and impress people. That wasn't my goal. It was like balance, a lot of core stuff. And so you're working with people like myself, but you're working with Division I college athletes and Division II college athletes. How do you find that balance? And how do you turn okay, this is Ryan Molly, I'm going to focus this on him. And my restrictions, right? I have bad hips. Yeah. And you kind of find that, and you're like, all right, we're going to work around that. But then you've got these other stud athletes. Is that hard for you? Do you enjoy one versus the other, or what's it like for you?
It's all fun, right? I like the challenge, but it really is. It's looking at movement literacy from individual to individual, and we call it literacy, just like reading, right? Can they do the basic movement patterns? Can they squat, hinge, push, pull? Can they control their body in free space, right? And we can break that down even further, right? And to motor control and mobility. Do they have one or the other, or lack both, right? We want to get everybody to at least the basics, right? And so, exercise is interesting. American College of Sports Medicine would say exercise is medicine, but it's almost like hygiene too, right? If you think about it, it's like we should at least have a baseline, and the goal is for every population to get to a baseline, and anything above that is, I would say, supplementary. It's like taking a supplement, a performance enhancement, right? So strength conditioning is like the supplement to go work performance. Then with my active aging, I'm trying to get everybody back to baseline, and a little supplement of some performance movements, right? Enhance the movements a little bit, add some load, right? Add some volume, so that they can do a little bit more than they would normally do, right? If it's working in the garden or if it's running a 5K. That's fun for me. I like the different challenges. In fact, I think 13, 14-year-olds are the hardest to coach. And it's not because they're loosey-goosey, they can't move really well. Maybe some of them don't have the control they should have yet, because they're developing. But, it's getting them to focus, right? And, I tell our coaches this all the time, is that when we're working with our athletes, the technical stuff's easy, right? We got putting together exercises, and putting them in a way that's within a standard operating procedure is the easy part. It's engaging them and making sure that they're staying focused on that movement, right? And then and then the best part's getting to know them. That's the best part of coaching. The transformational interaction is understanding everybody's why. Because once you can help them understand what their why is and the purpose behind of why they're in the weight room, or why they're playing a sport, or why they want to improve their health, then that's easy. Then they're going to do it, right? It's getting that buy-in. It's no different than working with a high level USA national team or a Division I team or a 11U hockey team, right? Is understanding that what we're doing, and I always like to say when I do a tour at Mercyhurst and we have parents coming in, recruits coming in, I always say I have the best coaching job because everybody plays. I don't sit anybody, right?
Yeah.
So it's backstage. So what we're doing backstage, one way or another, will show up on stage, right? Whether it's in the sport or your health.
Yeah.
And so if we can, even in the collegiate environment, in that environment, we're teaching athletes now how to move the rest of their lives, right? And weightlifting can be a sport. That's a sport itself. We're not using weightlifting as a sport. We're using it as a tool to increase sustainability, right? And then hopefully improve performance. And that, same with someone like you, we want to improve sustainability.
Yeah.
And then make sure you can still outthrow your kids and outrun your kids, right?
I was reading something the other day on, just culture and the difference of, Japanese culture. They live a lot longer than we do in this country. And
blue zone.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And you look at how these people are, and again, don't take any offense to this, anyone, but like the level of obesity, whether it's children or adults in this country versus Europe versus some of the Asian cultures, and particularly in Japan. And like, what is the main thing that is allowing these people to live longer? And people are like, well, it's their genetics and this and that. And there is some component to that, but they move. They're constantly moving. They're walking. They're doing something. Can you just expand upon how important that is? Because again, some of my patients are watching this. My parents are watching this. Like, one thing that I remember, my grandmother, she was always moving, and she lived to be 97, and she was a very good, healthy 97. She enjoyed life that entire 97 years.
Yeah, I think it's being in the environment that will be conducive to moving, right? Make your environment conducive to moving, no matter where you live. We should be getting up and moving throughout the day. It's another quote I love is and I've used this a couple of times. It's easier to move your way to a new way of thinking than think your way to moving. So don't think yourself to moving. When you don't want to move, get up and move. And when you start moving, do you ever notice when you move, take a walk, or even shooting basketball, you have the best ideas?
Oh, gosh. I love going to the peninsula, and I go by myself, and I do a nice 6-mile walk, pretty brisk walk. And that is, it's my time to be by myself, but like I have so much clarity, and like my competitive and just creative juices really start to flow during that period of time. And I'll jot some notes down on my phone. I try to like disconnect, but like I don't want to lose it either.
And I think, and I'll take that a bit further, as parents, we can help our kids set up a foundation for movement when we let them go and play. One of the things I think, and I'm guilty as a hockey dad, and somebody who works in performance, and I'm seeing this every day more and more, is that parents are in control of the kids' activity, and we're getting caught up in a lot of the activity piece, right? And the kids aren't fine, and they're not getting the time to go just play, right? Just let them play. And kids can find that movement's really fun when they're creative and doing it on their own versus having it be so structured.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's whether it's travel baseball or travel soccer or travel hockey, making sure we're giving kids time just to go play, not telling them what to do, just go play. Remember when we grew up, our parents go outside and we'll see you in 8 hours.
Yeah, we'll see when the sun starts to come down a little bit, and it's like time to come in for dinner, or then you go back out after dinner and you'd play. Like for me, it was out on the basketball court with my sister. We had lights. We turned those on until probably 10 o'clock at night. But I am very proud of our boys. They like their electronics, but especially in the summertime, or we've got the court down here in the basement, they're constantly going to the point where we almost have to like rein them in. It's like, all right, guys, neighbor kids, time to go home to your houses. But we like that because it's like they're outside, they're getting fresh air, they're getting exercise, and they're having fun, and they're interacting, and they're communicating with other kids, not texting, hey, what are you doing? You want to play Fortnite or this or that? So
all my kids are like your kids. I mean, they're close in age. So my 2 boys are 22 months apart, and they're the same way. I mean, they just run off and they're doing their things, but they're best friends. I mean, they're doing everything together. And so whether it's at home or being at a sports park, right? It could be worst places to hang out with your dad. I mean, it's between one rink to another rink. If they're at Mercyhurst with me, they're up at the batting cages or on the rink or on the ice or just running around campus. Or if they're at the sports park, can we jump on the ice again, Dad? I'm like, well, you were on there on the ice this morning. Can we go skate again? I'm like, if you want to go skate again.
Yeah.
Right. And so they have each other, which just encourages their activity. Which is
Yeah.
great. So probably for the folks at home, I mean, activity's going to be easiest if you have somebody do it with you.
Oh, for sure. And that's why, honestly, when Karen kind of said she wanted to do this, it was like, number one, I'm not waking up at 4:30 when Kyle comes because I'm not disappointing him.
Mm-hmm.
It's like accountability. And then my wife's doing it. So it's just like, we're in this together.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a good marriage thing. It's like, we're doing this together, whether we want to or not. There's days where I'm just like, oh, I'm so tired. And there's days where she's thinking the same thing. I'm like, no, let's go do it. And then we realize after we do it, like how much better we feel. So
That's awesome. I know he loves coming down here. And
he's a
coaching
great
the
kid.
guys. He's a great guy.
Yeah. So some personal stuff. Can I ask you some personal
sure,
questions?
absolutely, yeah.
So, you know, I know what you do professionally. You're an active family, right? But what do you guys like to do as a family, the four of you? Like say in your downtime, like say summertime, do you guys travel? I know you're so busy with, again, travel sports, the baseball, this, that. And, but is there something that you guys have like tradition wise in the summer or even the winter that you guys like to do as a family?
Yeah, we have a couple things. We don't live far off the lake at Edinburgh. My mom lives on a lake, so we'll walk down there and say, visit her. And the boys love to jump off the docks on the lake, and I could sit and watch them jump off docks all day. We also love bonfires. I love just going to the back. I built a fire pit patio years ago in the back. It's kind of like a C+, B- job. It was my first time doing like a patio fire pit. Did the pavers. I dug it foot deep. Learned how to put a perforated pipe in there because it rained overnight and it filled up and the water wasn't going anywhere. So I learned, what a perforated pipe looks like and how to dig the drain in there and drain it into back of the woods. And then I learned how to cut pavers and 411 pea stone, build the whole foundation. So it's been our family, just backyard bonfires, sometimes by myself because no one wants to go out to the bonfire, but usually the boys on Friday or Saturday night want to roast marshmallows. And that's one of my favorite things to do because there's no other distractions, just us four around a bonfire, and the boys tell stories. The boys, will talk more to both mom and dad, just about anything. And
Is there? Do you shut it down in the fall? Do you keep it going until the snow falls? Like what's your?
Sometimes we'll get a random winter one. I think the boys will. It's convincing my wife to come out in the cold sometimes to do the bonfire.
Gotcha.
Matthew and David, they'll go do the bonfire with me, but it's I want to have Beth out there as well. So we'll go late into October. Before the boys were born, we did do a bonfire out, Beth and I, in the backyard in the snow, but it was only once. So usually at end of October, November, we'll get a bonfire.
Now, my wife, I love bonfires myself, and so do my boys. I know my wife is this way, but I know there's other women this way. Does Beth have to take a shower before she goes to bed because of the smoke in her hair? And
After bonfires? Yeah, absolutely.
Do you do the same thing?
No.
Yeah.
Just
you're a guy, right?
It smells great. It's a bonfire smell. Yeah.
So, what about travel? Do you guys have like a destination that you guys like to go to, or do you have a bucket list of places either you and Beth or you and the family want to go to?
It's funny traveling. It's funny. Sports have taken us a lot of different locations. My career has taken us different destinations, and I always take my family with me. So it's a lot of people like to compartmentalize certain things in their career and their life. Everything bleeds in together for me. My kids are a part of it. Beth's part of it. So we've had some fun trips where it's involved coaching, where I'm coaching a clinic, for example, like USA Hockey. I've taken the boys.
I've seen some of that stuff on LinkedIn.
It's been a lot of fun. So I've taken them to Minnesota, St. Cloud, Minnesota for national camp, and they'll stay and they'll come, they've skated on the ice at St. Cloud. I took Beth on the plane to Air Force Academy. We played Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs, which is one of my favorite places to go. Beth and I've gone a couple times just to get away. But she flew with the whole entire hockey team to the Colorado Springs to watch us play Air Force Academy. But it's a great
area out there.
It's beautiful out there. If we
been to
didn't live
Broadmoor?
here, Broadmoor's beautiful. Yeah, we stayed at Cheyenne Resort, which is not far from Broadmoor, but we know Broadmoor. They've got great bison burgers out there.
Oh, unbelievable.
Love it. Yeah. And then this past summer, we took the boys to Nashville. When we do a couple of spring tournaments, we try to schedule them somewhere it's fun, so that we'll get a little hockey, but we'll get some family time. So we went to Nashville this past summer. As for like a location where we'd probably love to go for the family, we went to Puerto Rico. We went to Puerto Rico twice, and we loved it. We flew down to Puerto Rico for a week each the last couple springs. Can't forget that. We had a great time out there. Yeah,
that's
really
awesome.
Yeah.
Now, what about like Christmas. Do you have a Christmas tradition? Because we've got Christmas coming up here in just a little over a week.
Yeah.
Are you guys going anywhere? Are you staying home? Obviously, I don't want to give any gifts away to your kids if they're watching this. This actually won't air until probably right after Christmas, New Year's time. But any fun Christmas plans for you guys?
We're actually just excited that there's no games out of town. You know, last 5 weeks we were at Detroit, Windsor, Canada, and Columbus, Ohio. So we're gonna be home this weekend and coming up, which is great. So we always will do Christmas Eve usually at my in-laws and my mom's house, and then Christmas Day we stay at our house, just our immediate family.
Yeah, just the four of you.
Just the four of us.
Yeah.
It's take it chill, taking it easy, just hanging out with the family.
Pajamas all day.
Yep, just have a few cups of coffee. We love our coffee in the morning, and we'll go take a walk this weekend. It's going to be pretty warm coming up Christmas. I think it's supposed to be 50, so I think we'll take a walk to the lake. But it's not going to be as fun with not having snow on the ground. It's kind of that.
Hopefully, we get a little Christmas miracle and the weather changes. I mean, it's still only the 17th, so I don't put a little stock in the weathermen. No offense, meteorologists out there, especially in this area, but hopefully we'll get a little snow for at least that. I'm off. I always take the week of between Christmas and New Year's off, so I'm off like the 22nd through January 2nd. So, and we were originally supposed to go to Florida. I'm not a guy that likes to travel on the holidays.
No.
Like I love to travel, but not on the holidays, especially not Christmas. And my wife's awesome. I was very anxious about it. And I finally kind of spoke up. I'm like, I'm okay with it this year, but I just don't want to do this ever again. Like I'm uneasy. I want to wake up in our house. I want to like go to Christmas Eve mass here. I want to do the seven fishes here in our house. Like I like to cook. And she's like, that's a lot of work. I'm like, I'll do it. I love to cook. I love to make food for people and just enjoying that process to me is like therapeutic. Just the preparing. And she's like, well, we can cancel. So we canceled. And I was just like, oh my God, that's the best Christmas present I could ever receive. So we're here.
That's awesome. My mother-in-law mentioned Disney World at one point for my wife.
Oh my God.
And I told her absolutely not. And I'm like, because that's not vacation anyway.
No,
my vacation's either on a beach or in a mountain.
Yeah.
Not Disney World. My kids would be happy with a couple Lego sets and a swimming pool. If they never went to Disney World, I can guarantee my kids would be happy. And maybe I'm wrong, but I think my kids would be happy with a couple Lego sets and a really cool pool somewhere warm.
Yeah.
I'd rather do that than Disney World.
So we were supposed to go to St. Pete's Beach. So it would have been not Disney World by any means. Yeah. We weren't thinking that. But still, just like, I was thinking logistics, like, all right, where are we going to eat on Christmas? Right? Because there's no place that's going to be open. So then we have to go and get a bunch of food, and we have to cook with stuff that we're not used to cooking with. Like, I like waking up in our house. I like, my bed's more comfortable. The coffee's better at my house, all that. And I just like being here. As I get older, I get simpler, and I'm a homebody.
Yeah.
So, well, the next thing that we typically do is we go into the seventh inning Sabo and shoe stretch, a little ode to our boys' baseball passion. So, what are you wearing here?
Oh, all right. Well, I brought also another prop over here.
Yeah.
To show an addition. So these are my No Bulls. All right. I don't know if you can see.
I don't think I've ever heard of these.
No Bulls. It's a lifting brand. Pretty popular among the CrossFitters. They actually have golf shoes now. The NFL their combine recently was sponsored by No Bull. These are super comfortable. These are the runners. I think I might have got another pair for Christmas. Someone may have bought that for you. And bought me another pair. They have lifters too.
When you say lifters,
like flat bottom lifting shoes.
Okay.
For people, I've had a couple.
I didn't know if you meant like people that are short that like to lift themselves,
lifters,
like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
They have lifting shoes that have a little of a lift in them, so you can get a little more dorsiflexion in the ankle.
Okay.
But these are just super comfortable to walk around in, and because they're No Bulls, like I said, a lot of people have never heard of them.
Yeah.
But people in the fitness industry have. So they're kind of cool if you're getting on a plane and you're wearing those, and somebody else might notice them. Like, that guy probably trains.
How do you spell that?
Just No Bull. N-O.
Oh, No Bull.
L-L. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just like in the weight room. We just it's No Bull. You just go get it, right? It's nothing's more. I think when I describe the weight room, right? It's capitalistic than the weight room.
Yeah.
You get what you earn, what you work
Yeah.
for. You have to earn it.
Right. It's not everybody's not getting an equal share of the pie.
Not at all.
Right.
Yeah. You have to show up every day. And
Yeah.
you don't see it in the first 3 days or the first 3 months, but you just keep showing up. And I think No Bull is kind of cool. I like the way it's pretty cool marketing.
Comfy, I would imagine.
Comfortable, yeah. You know what? And I probably wouldn't. They're okay to run in. I run in them a little bit, but I do them just for a lifestyle shoe.
Yeah.
You know, so
Awesome.
my other prop though, I did bring these because you said I had to bring a pair of shoes.
Yeah.
Like, man, I don't know how many shoes that really mean a lot to me, but I brought these. These are my.
Yeah, I didn't see this.
These were special to me because I'm blessed with some great coaches. That trusted me with their athletes. And Rick Gawkin, Greg Gardner, Mike Sisti over at Mercyhurst. Before I started off got into the director of strength conditioning with the teams there, these guys brought me in, learned a lot about the game, got to work with the athletes on campus, which, it's like our second home. My kids love it at Mercyhurst, and you went to Mercyhurst.
Yeah.
But they always include me in everything, right? From team meals to meetings in the locker rooms, right? I think as a strength conditioning coach, there's other strength coaches out there that might travel with some of the teams, but they bring my entire family in. Rick's great, but always invites my kids on the trips.
I need to get him on
He'd be
this.
great. He can tell stories.
If you
He's the
could
best
maybe
storyteller.
make that connection. I've met him a couple times, actually, at a couple of the Coppola's graduation parties. I've seen him out in the backyard there. And I'm sure Greg could make that intro, but if you could.
And Dr. Coppola made the introduction to me with Rick Gawkin.
Yeah.
So, definitely we'll get him on here. It'd be a great, segment. So, when we always get cool swag. Every year the guys get warm ups. They give me warm ups. I get cool shirts, t-shirts, right? 1 year, a couple years ago, they asked if I wanted to get some skates. So they sized me up, got me a pair of skates, my own skates. I had a pair of old Nike Bauers I still have that would skate in. But these are cool because they come in, Bauer comes in, they size you up. They have a whole measurement for your foot, and then they make it special just for your foot. And of course, it's Mercyhurst green, which is
I was going to say that.
Those are.
Oh, wow.
They're really light. And so the guys, our hockey guys, and ladies, they get a new pair every year because they beat them up. Like my son, who's 11, and my other son, 9, right? They have to get skates every 6 months to a year. My 11-year-old teases me
because they're growing out of them, or because
they beat them up too, right?
Yeah.
My 11-year-old Matthew will say, "Dad, man, these look brand new still. You're not skating enough, and I need to skate more because I need to beat them up more. But most likely these will last me for the rest of my dad skating career.
Dude, those are awesome.
But
and I
it's
love
fun.
that green too.
Oh, it's awesome green, right? And so I get on preseason every year. I get on with the teams and I do their testing on the ice too. So I bring the Brouwer timing system on the ice, and I get to do their testing. So I get to put the skates on, and of course I try to look the part. If you look good, you feel good, you skate good. I'm
that's
getting
right.
better.
The Jordans,
that's
man, right?
Right. So the skates make me feel good. So I think I skate a little bit better than my other skates. But these mean a lot just because, again, the staff there have been awesome. We've got, of course, I got to put a shout out to our equipment manager now, one of our new guys, Gavin, because he takes care of my kids as well. If you need a pair of the extra tape or whatever, or he just spends time, shows my son how to sharpen skates. It's pretty cool. Like I said, it's a neat little, I feel it's like an extended family for me there on campus.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely something to that. And I don't care if it's it's like you get a clean car, you just get it detailed, like you feel better, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get done with a workout, or you get a haircut, or a fresh shave or something. When you look good and you present, you just feel better.
Yeah.
And I think you perform better, quite honestly,
absolutely.
too, because your mindset's differently as opposed to, coming in sloppy, dressed, you hadn't showered yet, this, that.
Workout attire that makes a difference, right? At least my wife tells me that when she buys a pair of new leggings, right? She loves her Lululemon, so she's like, hey, I gotta get this new color. I'm going to train harder. I'm going to work harder.
So my wife was just telling me a couple of days ago that Lululemon, they give pretty decent discounts to people in the healthcare.
do, yeah.
Does she take advantage of that?
We both do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
Get a
I
little
never
Sweat
have.
Collective discount for if you're a strength coach, you get a discount. So
Yeah.
these are Lululemon pants, most comfortable pants you could buy. Not gonna lie, I didn't know what they were when I heard Lululemon. I thought they were like a girl's clothing because it sounds pretty.
It does. Like my vest
Yeah.
that I wear, it's a Lululemon. I didn't realize that there was a discount though. So
Yeah.
hey, healthcare providers,
go.
strength and fitness, all that kind of stuff, take advantage of that
Yeah,
too.
super
So.
comfortable.
So I'd already talked about these, but yeah, these are the ugly Christmas sweater Air Jordan 1 mids. They just get some cool, it's literally like a sweater material here with some 23s and some snowflakes and things like that. And this was one of the boys' Christmas presents. So all 4 of us have the exact same shoes.
Oh, nice.
And the funny thing is I could get them in the kids pretty easily on StockX or Stadium Goods. You cannot find these in adult sizes, especially a 12, which is what I wear. I scoured the internet and I found some on this like really sketchy website called Peacock. I'm like, well, these are either not going to be real Jordans or I'm going to pay for them and never get them. And it started to be more like the second option because I couldn't get it because I don't have a PayPal account. So I'm like, Karen, can you get these for me? She did it and she sent me the receipt. I'm like, oh, this looks really sketchy. Like it just was not professional. They said we're based out of Ohio, but it's coming from somewhere in Asia. And it just seemed you couldn't even click on the tracking thing. I eventually called some phone numbers. They're like, oh, just be patient with us. And it took a month. They just came in this Thursday. I wanted them for our Do Good Christmas event on Friday. And fortunately, these came in Thursday. And I think Luca's, his size came in on Thursday too. So we were able to
like family Christmas pictures with these shoes on.
Yeah, we already took our fall photos, but we'll definitely do some Christmas photos with these on.
That's awesome. Really cool.
So the next thing is the Sawbones Challenge.
All right.
So, I'm going to kind of give you the choice of what you want to do. We can play pig on the basketball hoop there. We can do pop a shot, a shooting competition. We can do foosball. It's kind of dealer's choice. I'm going to let you pick as the guest what you want to do, but stick around. It's going to be fun. I know he's competitive. I know I'm competitive. We'll try to keep it PG and above board, but looking forward to it. We'll see you in a little bit.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
All right, guys, Sawbones Challenge. We got the basement version. I like the summer versions because we can go out and we can actually do like a shooting competition outside. But we've had some fun with the basement stuff, so we're gonna do pig. I always let my guests go first, so.
All right.
Honors.
It's a little corner shot here.
Man, he didn't make one until that shot right there.
Man.
Pete.
All right. Go another corner shot here. Oh, nope.
All right. You guys know what's coming here now. I don't think he does, but I do some tributes to some previous greats. So this is my ode to Kareem.
Oh,
You gotta fake this way, come up through the doorway. Oh, airball. I'll get that to drop here in this stage.
all right. A little bank. Nope. Another one.
Airball under. Okay. I'm just titrating.
It's a little foul shot. I did get a couple warm-up shots, so it wasn't fair, probably.
Aye. It's not a good performance, folks.
Got to end it harder.
It's gonna be a quick one.
We'll go from the parking lot here. Here we go. Oh.
Woo. All right. Little Kobe, little fadeaway. Oh! I gotta make some, like,
No.
thank goodness. Fadeaway. Oh!
Yeah.
Can't get it going here.
Oh.
All right, I just gotta get an 8 on the board here. So, between the legs.
Oh, there we go. Is that off the wall?
Yeah.
Man, all right, here you go. Oh,
You got it.
oh, missed it.
We got it.
Oh man, there's a P.
All right, we're going back to Kareem here. I got the hat turned backwards.
Oh. All right, how about that one of those reverse dunks?
Which side did you come from? This side?
Came this side.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, there we go. There we go. All right. Oh.
Ooh. Right at the camera. Fade away. Oh! Luca's down here observing now.
Here we go. Let's see.
All right, I'm gonna do the Kareem Lou. I just needed you to come down. That's all I needed.
Oh man, I haven't made one of those creams yet. Does he usually make those?
Yeah. No one can make it either. Obviously, I can't
I
make it
can.
either.
I can make it 3.
It's Luca, right? Give me an alley-oop. All right, do a little pass. There we go.
Oh.
Oh, there we go.
All right, you gotta do the same thing for me now. Give me a good pass, though.
Nice, there we go. All right, here we go. Man, it's a tough game here.
There it is.
Oh, nice.
There it is.
A little fake here, a little clean up Abdul-Jabbar.
Yep.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
tie.
P.I.,
We're
P.I.
tied now.
Folks, here it is. Little Jordan back and down.
Oh, man, here we go. One of these days?
Yep. Oh. It's
Tough
over,
defense
folks.
over here, though.
It was my good luck charm. I needed Luca to come down here. Sawbones challenge. All right. Luca, let's see a dunk to finish it. Big power dunk, big power dunk, big Lou. Oh, one more. Come on. Come on.
Put down.
And then you gotta look at the camera and do that little dance. All right, here he comes. Oh, he's getting a running start. Oh!
Nice.
Celebrate.
There we go.
All right.
Awesome.
Thanks for tuning in. Catch you soon. Thanks, everybody, coming back from the Sawbones Challenge. And again, just want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know you're busy with your career, busy with your wife, with your 2 boys, active, moving, always doing something. You had a hockey game earlier. We had a basketball game earlier. But thank you. This means a lot. I've enjoyed getting to know you better over the past couple of years, and I look forward to continued friendship. And we have a lot of mutual friends, and I honestly, I'm a huge fan of you. I love what you're doing to promote health and fitness in this area, and you do an awesome job of it. So
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
thank you.
It's been a lot of fun.
So I always ask this question, and you kind of asked me like 5 to 10 years, but where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years?
It's a great question. I love that question. It's like one of those questions that somebody would ask you during an interview.
Yeah.
I'll answer it. I steal this from Tim Ferriss. You guys have probably heard of Tim Ferriss. If you're he's got the book, The 5-Hour Body,
Okay.
The 5-Hour Work Week. So I have to actually start looking 10 years. Yeah, I've thought about that. Tim Ferriss puts it at, if I had to do a 10-year goal, I have to almost take myself a step back a little bit and almost underperform to be sustainable for that long period of time. Instead, the page I've taken from him is I set 6-month experiments, and I can go all out for 6 months, almost like sprint. So I set 6-month experiments, and I've been doing that for my career for the last probably 10 years. I set up a 6-month experiment. I go all out, see how that goes, reset, and I set up another 6-month experiment because I don't want to lose out on an opportunity that I might receive in that 6 months because I don't know where 10 years is going to take me. Right?
It's hard, right?
It's hard, right? So I would hope in 10 years that again the business is thriving. Maybe it's not the only business I have, right? My focus is my family. That my boys are nearby. Because 10 years, my boys will be 21 years old, right, and 19 years old. So that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's a long. We know the time's going to go by
yeah,
fast.
probably playing college or semi-professional hockey somewhere. You never know.
Who knows?
Maybe professional.
As long as as long as the unit is together.
Yeah.
I don't care where we are. I'd love to see for example, the rink in town thriving and being a hockey hotbed, providing a great destination for kids all over the world to play hockey and other sports. I'd love to see Mercyhurst University be a bigger name on the map. I'd love to see all the programs being successful. And again, I hope to continue to be healthy and coaching. I don't think I could ever retire fully, even if fully became financially independent, because I'd be bored. Like you mentioned earlier in our podcast, it's not I could never just focus on one thing. I like being involved with so many different things. So
there's definitely going to come a point where I can't physically operate anymore, but there will never, at least I can't imagine a time where I'm retired.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to just go play golf every day or go to the pool every day. Like I have to be involved to create something or to be a part of something. It's just my nature.
Yeah. I think coaching other coaches could be something I would do in the future. I mean, my mentor, Michael Boyle, is one of the best strength conditioning coaches in the world, in my opinion. I mean, he has his mentorship and his interns have created numerous Division I strength coaches all over the world. And I see what he's done. And if I could even be a fraction of what he's produced out of Erie, Pennsylvania, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. So one last question for you, Tyler. If people are looking to, New Year's is coming up, right? Everybody makes their New Year's resolutions, and for a lot of people, it's how do I get in better shape? That was my goal last year, was just wellness. If someone wants to get in touch with you or one of your teammates to set up either a personalized, program or something like that, how would they do that?
Well, they can obviously email me, ttravis@esnfitness.com, or follow us on our Instagram, ESN Fitness, or my personal Instagram, Tyler G. Travis, or LinkedIn, Tyler G. Travis. So if you just even look my name up, you'll connect with me. It's pretty easy that way. Our website's esnfitness.com as well. And obviously, if you can't forget that, and you go to the Mercyhurst website and email me on my Mercyhurst email, which is ttravis@mercyhurst.edu.
So long story short, a lot of ways to get in touch with you.
Always.
There's no excuses.
I mean, everybody's online. So if you just go to Instagram, Twitter, I'm happy to. I respond to either of those ways, whichever's easiest means of communication for those people out there.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, again, thank you.
I have a gift for you before we close.
Oh, yeah.
So it's our 5-year anniversary, Erie Sports Now Fitness Performance Center. I brought you one of our shirts. This is because
I like that
you
bag.
trained with us, right?
Yeah, I've got the white version that's, dry fit or
Dry fit.
Yeah.
This is a dry fit. It's kind of poly cotton blend here. It's a Move Smart, Move Strong, Move Now.
Love it.
It'll be
The key is move.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. No, this is awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thanks for all that you do for the community. And you have a lovely family. Love running into you guys, periodically throughout the summer. We definitely have to get the family back out on the boat next summer. I don't think we were able to do it this year, but we did last year. And it was a lot of fun. But I want to wish you and your family a very, very Merry Christmas and a great upcoming holiday season. And let's connect more.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Merry Christmas.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
So stick around, make suggestions, comments. If you have somebody that you'd like to see on here as a guest, shoot us an email or just in our YouTube channel, make those comments or suggestions. I've gotten a couple of those, trying to work some of those leads to make that happen. And, as always, just thanks for all your support and have a wonderful, wonderful upcoming holiday season. This will actually air after, but I hope you guys had a great Christmas, and let's make 2024 together our best year yet. So thank you very much. Have a great day.
Well, I have loved some fishing in the outdoors where I'm free. It's where I spent my time before I hurt my hip and my knee. When that doctor asked me, son, how'd you get in this condition? I says, they saw bones, I'm just carrying on an old family tradition. I wanna know, Doc, why do you think I got some pain in my joints from years of playing hard in this life that's too short? When that doctor asked me, son, how'd you get in this condition? I says, they saw bones and just carrying on an old family tradition. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Tell me all about it, Doc.